in, then they'll just miss my introduction. So thanks so much, first of all, for being here. Actually, just give me a second. I have to switch the, oh, no, wait. There we go. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk about how to set up your morning routines for success. So let me just do a quick introduction. Most of you on here are patients of mine, but there's a couple new faces, which I'm so happy about. Thank you so much for joining. But I'm Dr. Jana Doney. I'm a chiropractor at Vita Chiropractic. And ever since this whole quarantine thing has started, I've just tried to do my best to reach out to my people. I'm literally doing messages and videos every single day because I know this is a challenging time for people. So I'm trying to the best of my ability to put out positive mindset content to help people find joy and keep positive. And so that's the point of this webinar series, and that's the point of all my messages, because there's so much negativity out there, and I'm just trying to instill a little bit of joy. But with this webinar in particular, I'm gonna ask you, if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen in front of you, to grab one, because this is gonna be a very practical session, and I'm gonna be getting you to write down things in order to develop your own plans after. So have that close to you. Now, with regards to like interactions and questions, if you have any questions, I'm gonna ask you to kind of two things. Number one, you can just write them down on a piece of paper. And when I'm done going through the material, then we can have some dialogue. I can unmute you and we can chat about it and you can ask questions. Or what you can do is there's actually a chat bar. And as I'm talking, you can put in a question and then we can read those at the end. I may not get to it in the middle of it because I might not even really see it, but at the end I can check those if you would prefer to put it on there, okay? Now from a timing perspective, I'm not exactly sure how long this will take. It will depend on how many questions you have. I'm thinking somewhere around 40 minutes. But if you do need to run out, I am recording this and you can get the recording afterwards. I'm gonna put it tomorrow out on email and tomorrow on social media in case you do have to miss part of it. But let's kind of overview what we're gonna talk about today, okay? So morning success routine, we're gonna talk about three things. The first thing is why we wanna do this in the first place, okay? What is the benefit to you? The second part of the webinar is how to actually do it. So that's the practical piece. And that's where you're going to want to take notes and really write it all down. And then the third part I'm going to talk about is my tips on this and how to handle obstacles. So as I'm talking through this, if you're like, oh, I can't do that, I have a baby, or I can't do that, I work shift work, or, you know, pay attention to those, that negativity kind of that's coming up. But just know that I'm going to address a lot of these things at the end. But if you do have an obstacle that I don't address, definitely you can ask it at the end and we can talk about it. Because I've been doing this for a while, and so I've done it through stages where I was single, I've done it living with my husband, then to having a new baby, to having a toddler, to having a preschooler. So I've had to kind of adapt as the time has gone on with this practice. So I can answer some questions with regards to that. But first of all, let's talk about the first section of why. Why are we even doing this? Well, obviously, I don't have to tell you this is a challenging time right now with being quarantined. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of fear. We're spending way too much time on social media and the news that is very negative and repetitive. Yes, you need to be informed, but we don't need to listen to the same thing over and over and over because even the words they use are very negative. And here's the thing. We need to try and be as positive as we can during this time so it really doesn't weigh us down. I have a lot of concerns for people that have anxiety and depression and how this is going to affect them, which is a very strong push for me to get this content out, because if we're just focusing on that, that's all our brain is going to take in, and we need to create some positive, because in every horrible situation there's always some positive. There are good things that are happening right now. But the question is, what are you dwelling on? What are you focusing? What are you purposely looking at? So that's really, you know, the point of it is, wouldn't it be incredible if right now you set up a routine for yourself that actually instilled a lot of positivity and instilled some habits of self-care, that not only would it help you get through this season of this quarantining, but it would actually create a new habit for you. So when this is all said and done, which it will be, this will end at some point, Wouldn't it be amazing if you had a new habit that is something that could help you even in your future? And that's kind of what I want you to think, because that's been a big theme for me, is opportunity. What is the opportunity here? And how can we create something positive for ourselves? So, and why specifically a morning routine? Because think about what most people do. Okay, and maybe this is you or maybe it's not, but the majority of people start their day on someone else's agenda. So think about this. You wake up, and whether you just spry jump out of bed or hit your snooze button 10 times, but you wake up, and for the most part, people roll over and grab their phone. And what do? They start looking at the news. What's the update? What's the death toll today, or whatever it is, right? We start looking at the news, or we check our emails. And now the first thing we're looking at is other people, what they want from us or what their issues are. So we start with that. Or we go on social media, where now we're just scrolling Facebook or Instagram and looking at other people's lives and how fabulous their lives are and comparing ourselves to them, right? We do a lot of that. Oh, I wish I was going on that trip, or I wish that, we're looking at someone's highlight reel and thinking that's every moment of someone's life, and comparing to our struggles, right? So a lot of times, or we're going on social media now, just, news is everywhere. So we're starting our day on other people's agendas. And often it is pessimistic or negative or fear-inducing or comparison-inducing, which increases a lot of stress and anxiety for us. Imagine, instead of doing that, you didn't check your phone first thing in the morning, and instead you spent a chunk of time doing something for you that was your agenda, not somebody else's, and that would positively influence your life in a whole bunch of different ways, whether it's from health, mindset, growth, learning, all the things we're going to cover. Okay, that's what I want you to imagine, and think about the difference that could, because this is might be something you want to write down. How you start your day is how you live your day. And I say this a lot, and I firmly believe this. How you start your day is how you live your day. So the energy you have in that first bit when you wake up influences how you're going to react to situations in the day. Think about it. If you wake up Christmas morning, you wake up an amazing, or the day you're taking a vacation, think about how excited and energetic you are in that day versus a day of work where you roll over and you look at the first thing you do is look at your work emails as soon as you wake up, and then you know what you have to deal with when you get to work, right? You think about it. So imagine you started your day just for you. And that's the whole point of this morning success ritual. And this is another thing that I want you to write down, because this is very important. Joy will not find you. You need to find it. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Joy will not find you. You need to find it. Now, I use the joy word in there, but you could interchange it with success is not going to find you. You need to find it. Okay. Health, good health is not going to find you. You need to find it. The point is, we don't just get these things. Oh, Diane's saying I can't hear anything. What I'm going to suggest you do is log out and log back in, because sometimes that works. And then turn your volume up, just in case maybe your volume's down and you don't realize it. Oh, I don't know if she's going to be able to hear that. You know what? I have to write it in. Give me 1 second, everybody. Okay, log out and then log back in, or increase your volume. If this helps. Okay, sorry about that. Let's just see if that helps her. Okay, so where was I with that? Yeah, joy will not find you. You must go find it. We don't just get these things. We have to work for them. And that is the point of, if you could shell out a little bit of time in the morning to work for this, it's going to give you more of the things that you say that you want, really, which is the next point, which is before we get into the nitty gritty, we're going to figure out why we're doing this. Okay. So this is the exercise I want you to do. It's called problem possibility. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to do is think about, what is the problem, or what is the challenge? What motivated you to come to this? What are you hoping you had more of? Okay. And then what is the possibility, is what would it be like if you had more of that? So let me give you an example. So for me, why I do this routine is because I am tired. Okay. So my problem is energy. And the possibility for me of having more energy means I'm going to have the energy to adjust all my patients all day because I need a lot of energy to be able to physically do that. And then when I get home, I need some energy to be able to play with my 3-year-old. And I know a lot of you on here have children. You need some energy. So that my problem is I'm tired and I want to do things to increase my energy, which is the possibility. The other thing for me, from a problem possibility perspective, is my health. So a lot of you guys know I got sick last year. I ended up with pneumonia. And so for me, I was like, I can't be sick, because when I was sick, I couldn't be in the office for 2 weeks. I couldn't even care for my kid. I can't, it's not an option for me. So I do this because it's self-care and it's going to decrease stress in my life to give me that possibility of being healthy for my family and my patients. That's it for me, is my family and my practice. That's the biggest ones. So I'm going to get you to think about that right now, and we're going to write it down. Now, you don't have to share anything, but like really take a second right now. What is the problem? What are you thinking is lacking? Whether it's routine, whether it's lacking focus, whether it's lacking motivation, whether it's energy, whether it's an illness issue or a health issue. And then on the other side of that corner, what's the possibility if you didn't have that? So what would that mean for you? Because this is what's going to help you get up in the morning to do this, is really understanding your why. So in the morning when I'm like, oh, I'd rather lie in bed for another 20 minutes, or I can get up and do this, I remember how crappy it was when I was sick. And I don't want that ever to happen to me. So that's my motivation. Okay, so I'd really have you encourage you to explore that. And if you can't come up with it right now, you can always message me. We can talk about it, or you can do the exercise later. But that's really important so you have longevity with this. Okay, everybody good so far? Thumbs up if we're good. Okay, good. So now, let's get into just checking to see if Diane wrote me back, but I don't see anything. So hopefully she's okay now. Let's get into the nitty-gritties of how we're going to do this morning success routine. So first of all, it's on a point system. So we're going to try and make it a little bit like a game, and you're trying to get 6 points every day. Okay. So we're just going to make it fun. Now, ideally, you want to try and get these 6 points every day in the morning, like when you first get up before you leave the door, you leave out the door to go on with your day when you're at work. Right now, it's just in the morning because you're not leaving. Now, time frame, how much you need. It just depends, but anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You could take longer if you want to, depends on how deep you want to get into some of these things, but you need at least 20 to 30 minutes really to shell out for yourself. And we're going to address some of the time obstacles in a moment, but that's really what it's going to take. Now I'm going to go through the 6 points. So I want you to write these down right now. The first one is greens. So write down greens. The second one is movement. The third one is breath work. 4 is journaling. 5 is notes. And 6 is learn. I'll say those again. So greens, movement, breath work, journal, notes, and learn. Okay. So again, you're trying to hit all these 6 things and get a check mark for each of them. Now we'll talk about them individually. So the first one is greens. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a green smoothie or a greens powder. Every single day, the first thing I do when I wake up is I walk down the stairs and I make a green drink. Now, if you have a little bit more time and want to do a smoothie, beautiful. For me, I like to do this. I have this product. Many of you guys have seen this. It's called Greens and Reds. There's lots of greens powders on the market, but I literally just take a scoop and I mix it with my water. Now, why am I doing that? One of the biggest things with this routine is getting energy. Think about what the healthiest foods are. Most people would say vegetables, I hope. They give you energy. So good nutrition fuels your body, which gives you energy. So starting your day with some greens is beautiful for yourself. So that is the first thing. And it also hydrates you, which will give you some energy. Okay. So we got to get more energy, which goes into the second point, which is movement. So you want to take at least 10 minutes and do some movement. Now, if you want to do more than that, beautiful, but at least 10 minutes. Now it can be anything from, stretching to playing some music and dancing, to doing like hit workouts, push-ups and squats. You can go for a walk around your block. Like that's a good one to do as well. but something to get your blood flowing and again, induce energy, okay? We don't just get energy, we have to make energy by moving and by giving ourselves good nutrition. So that's the first two of them. Now, there's another saying that I learned from Rachel Hollis, who is one of my favorite mentors. I don't know her personally, but I've studied all her stuff, and a lot of this comes from her. But she always says, move your body, change your mind. Move your body, change your mind. So before we get into some of the mindset things, which are some of the next things, you want to get some greens, get some hydration, and get some movement in. And so that's huge, because when you move your body, you actually release endorphins, and it's more positive, and you're more focused to do the work that we're going to do next. Okay, everybody with me on the first two? Thumbs up if we're good. Okay, good. So get your greens, do about 10 minutes of movement. For me, I like to stretch, actually. This is where I do my spinal hygiene exercises that a lot of you have seen me talk about before. I do that in the morning, and then I tend to do my workout later in the day. But for some people, they just want to get their workouts done in the morning. That's why I said this could take longer for you if you wanted. Now, the third piece, then I will sit down and I do some breath work. So this could be anything from 10 just deep breaths, stomach belly breaths, to doing like literally a guided meditation, okay? Depends on you. That's why this is very personal. Some people are not into meditation whatsoever. And for some people, doing a meditation first thing in the morning might put them to sleep. That's me. I like to do more of that stuff at bedtime. So for me, I like more of the active breath work. So I will literally just sit down, I'll close my eyes, I put my hands on my belly, and I take a deep breath in, and I feel my belly expand, and I hold that for about 4 seconds, and then I exhale like through my mouth, like out, and I feel my belly come back in. And I do 10 deep breaths, and every time I exhale, I feel my shoulders drop down. Okay, so the point of the breath work and deep breath work is to get oxygen into your body, again, to create more energy. And it's also to help relax any tension and relax your body, okay? So deep breaths in, and then exhale and drop your shoulders. So for me, I do 10 deep breaths, but you can make it whatever you want for that, okay? So we've done greens, do some movement, sit down, 10 deep breaths, or again, if you want to do more than that. And next we get into journaling. Now this part of it, all of it, I'm stealing from Rachel Hollis. This is not my material, but this is what she has taught me, and it has brought me immense value, which is why I want to share it with you. So every morning after I've done what I've stated, I do 3 things, and I have my little journal, and I'm going to go through with you literally what I wrote. Oh, there's Chantal, it's beautiful. I know you can't read this, but I'm going to tell you literally what I did this morning. And this is broken down into 3 categories of gratitude, dreams, and today's goal. Okay. Now, why am I doing this? So again, I want to live on my agenda, not other people's. So before I check my email, I'm writing out positive things that I am grateful for, dreams that I have for myself, and things that I want to do to improve my life. Okay. So the first thing that I do is I write down 4 things I'm grateful for. Okay. So literally, I'm going to tell you what I wrote today. Yes. And it's 4 things that you're grateful for that have happened in the last 24 hours. Okay. So the first one I have here is yesterday, Cruz told me I was cute. Cruz is my son. He told me I was cute. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. So I wrote Cruz calling me cute. I wrote, we had family pizza night last night, which was awesome. I had an Ozark date with my husband last night and watched Ozark. And I saw a patient yesterday that really needed me. And so I was grateful to be able to help her and have that opportunity. So for me, I wrote these things down, but I also like thought about them. I didn't just write it to write it. I thought about it, like how happy it made me when my son said something cute to me, how happy I am I was able to help this person. Like tomorrow morning, this will probably be in my gratitudes, right? How happy I was to be able to share some of this knowledge that I have with my people. Okay. So you really need to write it and think about why it makes you happy, as opposed to watching the news first thing in the morning. Are you with me? Okay. So I write down at least 4 things I'm grateful for. And then, oh, actually 1 second. I'm trying to get on with my phone, but I need to download the Zoom app. I may be late. Yeah, Diane needs to download the app. Okay. So hopefully she can figure that out. Next, I write down 10 dreams I have for my life. But here's the thing. I write down my dreams as if they already happened. Okay. So I've sat down and thought of 10 years from now, what are 10 things I want to achieve in my life? And I'll write them like they already happened. So thinking about the psychology behind that. And you can write down your dreams in different categories, like with regards to, and this might be something you want to write down, but health, mindset, accomplishments, any dreams you have with regards to relationships, your career, and your finances. So again, health, mindset, accomplishments, relationships, career, and finances. Okay. So for example, I have here, and I've written one dream for financial, how much money I want to have in my bank account 10 years from now. So I write that down every single day. I have blank in my bank. Okay. I write down things that I want to accomplish with my business. So for me, I have a chiropractor working for me who's set up to buy my practice. I mean, 10 years from now, if that happened, that would be very good for me. So I'm writing it down as if it happened, though already I have this. This is, personally, like with regards to my health, I move my body every single day. So I write that down because then later in my day, if I'm like, I don't feel like exercising, I literally wrote it down that I have to do it, right? So again, the psychology behind it. I am pain-free is one of mine because I do have some musculoskeletal issues. So I want to be pain-free. So that motivates me to do my stretching, get adjusted, get massages and all those things, take care of myself. Another one I have here is I have a strong, loving marriage and I am an attentive mother. For me right now, I don't want to be a distracted mother. I want to be an attentive mother. So I write that down. Because again, you write this down and then I go out to see my kid and I'm on my phone. I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? I need to live this. I have my best friend lives in Australia. I travel with Sarah every year. So you might have travel goals and dreams. And another thing I'm a competitive figure skater. So I've started figure skating again. It's something I did 20 years ago. And I have a dream. I want to actually compete. So for me, that's my dream. It's different for everybody else. So you need to sit down and write these out. But the point is, by writing them, I'm more likely to start to do the things to achieve them. Because every morning I literally write it. Okay. So that's just some of my dreams. I didn't go through all of them, but just some of them. And then the last part of this is goals. So one goal I write, that's always, I keep my promise to myself. I write that down every single day because I want to. And then the last thing is something, what am I hoping to achieve today? So for me, I literally wrote, rock my webinar. So that's what, am I rocking it? Hopefully, I'm trying. So that's what I do every single day. What's a focus of the day? So again, look at the positivity from a mindset perspective that this does and the psychology this does and how it can motivate you to actually follow through on some of these things that you really want to, as opposed to being sucked into watching CBC all day or Netflix and then just not even doing anything. So this is part of it, okay? Now the next point is notes. Okay, so this is number 5. And what do I mean by this is you're gonna send a note to somebody that you love and care about. All right. So it can be a Post-it note to someone in your family. You can send a text message or an email, but it's some kind of note of, and these are the 4 things, the 4 categories: love, appreciation, thank you, or a memory. So let's kind of back up and why we do this. Think about if ever you're just living your life and all of a sudden out of the blue, you get a text message from someone you haven't spoke to in a while. And it's just like, hey, I was thinking about you. Remember that time we went and did this? That was so much fun. Can't wait till we get to do that again. Hope you're doing well. How awesome is that when you get a note like that from somebody? Doesn't it really make your day, brightens your day, right? So imagine every single morning you purposely did something like that for somebody. And in the process, you thought about somebody that you love and wrote something nice for them. And this could literally even just be to your kid, like a little sticky note with a heart and says, love you, and leave it, in their room or something, or a text to your husband or your spouse or whatever. So it's like why we're doing it is to spread love and joy. And when you do that for somebody else, you get it in return. And it's just a great way to strengthen your relationship. So imagine every single day you did something to strengthen one of the important relationships in your life. Now, another way that you could do this is like if you Like the other night I had a Zoom call with my friends, and then the next day I just sent them a message just saying, hey, it was so great to talk to you guys. I miss you guys so much. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks so much for that. You know, something like that. So you're just reaching out to people. It's just another way to provide more joy in the world. So send some type of awesome little reach out note to somebody that you care about. And then the last point is learn. Okay, so taking a little bit of time to read or listen to a podcast. Now, you don't have to do this for an hour. I talk about read to learn. So reading or listening to a podcast until you learn something really positive that's a lesson for you or something that helps you. Now, in this realm of things, you want to look at a couple categories when you're trying to figure out what material to look at and to listen to. It's either personal development, health, career, or finances. You're looking at something that's going to improve you as a human in those categories. And then, like I said, just listen to it until you get some kind of lesson. Now, some people like to, you learn it, you listen to it until you get a point that's really positive for you. And then some people will journal it and write it down, or some people just get on with their day. But again, you're learning something. It's self-care, it's positive, and it's going to help you grow as a human throughout this process and beyond. Okay. So, and I'm going to talk about how to, again, functionally do this from a time perspective, but these are the 6 categories. Get some greens and some movement in to increase your energy, do some breath work, journal, notes, and learn something. So this is what I do in the morning. So let's talk about how practically I do this. I wake up, I go downstairs, I get my greens powder, as I said. Then I go up to my living room and I do about, 10 minutes of stretching, because for me, I'm a chiropractor, I'm a spinal hygiene, I feel stiff in the morning, stretching works for me. Then I sit down and I do 10 deep breaths with my eyes closed, belly breaths, just to get focused. And then I grab my journal. I do those things, gratitude, dreams, the goal. And then I write a note to somebody I care about. So really quickly, just who am I thinking about, send a quick note. And for me, if it's like a weekend and I have a little bit of time and my son has decided to sleep longer, I'll read something. But if not, I actually listen to a podcast while I'm getting ready in the morning. So I'll shower and then get ready and listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to it if it's a work day, I'll listen to it on my drive into work. That's how I feasibly make it happen for myself, just with the season that I'm in right now with having a kid and all that. So you have to figure out how to structure this based on the time that you have, but that's what works for me right now. And the whole thing literally takes me like 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't take super long, but it's what works for me. Cool. So that is the plan. And I try and get my 6 check marks every single day and do something for me. And then when I'm done that, then I check my phone. Okay. So what we're going to do quickly now, before I take some questions, is I'm quickly going to go through a couple tips I have and some common obstacles to give you some other tips. Okay. So first thing is you will have to get up a little bit earlier to do this. Unless maybe you're not going into work and so you can save a little bit of time there. So maybe not right now, but down the road, yes, you do have to get up a little bit earlier. And I'd encourage you to get up at the same time every single day for routine. This is all about establishing a routine in a time when our routines are all over the place. I already mentioned the tip about doing the podcast while getting ready or driving. You could actually do a podcast while you're exercising. So say maybe for those 10 minutes of movement, if you're stretching, you can listen to it at that time. Or if you decided to go for a walk around your block, you can listen to your podcast while you're walking. So again, you can do 2 at 1 for a time perspective, okay? Don't turn on your phone until it's done. If you're tempted to, just don't do it. As soon as you're done it, then turn on your phone and see what's going on in the world. I would encourage you to tell your family what you're doing so they can support you and they know why you're doing it. They'll also know to leave you alone during that time. That's your you time. That's your self-care time. So they need to respect that time for you. Next point is to have some patience with yourself. Okay, so you may not notice a dramatic improvement in positivity and energy and focus in one day of doing this. It's like anything else. It has to become a habit and a regular routine. And over time, you will notice a difference, just like your chiropractic care. I mean, your health didn't dramatically improve after your first adjustment, but repetitively over time is what changes it. It's like that with anything else. So please have some grace and patience with yourself. This is a new habit, and I assure you it'll be worth it in the long run if you do it. And the next thing is, the cool thing about doing this in the morning and establishing this habit is, say in the daytime you feel sluggish or something stressful happens and you need to pull yourself out of it, you have tools. So maybe it's breath work because you've done breath work every single day for a year in the morning. So then, you know, you can do your breath work at lunch. You can take get another smoothie. You can, you know, do some of the things, write out, okay, what am I grateful for? And write these things out. These are habits that will become tools for you that you can use at other times in the day to help yourself. So that's what I think is really cool about this practice. And it's, you know, it's also not waiting till things are trouble, like, you know, doing it every single day as part of your practice. And then when something not great happens, something not great comes along, it can help you, okay? Now, some obstacles. The first one, people say this is the number one obstacle. I can't get up earlier. There's no way I can get up 30 minutes earlier. So I will tell you, this is not an obstacle. This is just laziness. Everybody can get up early, because I guarantee if you had a 6 a.m. flight for a vacation, you got up early, right? It's just discipline and motivation. And so, you know, how you can help yourself is going to bed a little bit earlier, you know, not staying up till midnight watching Netflix. You can't get up at 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning if you do that. So getting to bed earlier, and also focusing on your why. Go back to what we did at the beginning. Why are you doing this? You almost got to like have it on a Post-it note next to your bed so you can look at it and remind yourself why you're doing it, okay? So time is not, that is just laziness and lack of discipline, okay? So you just got to dig deep and do it and remember your why, because you are worth it and it is worth it. Now, the next one that I do believe is actually a real obstacle is children. Okay, so first of all, if you have a new baby, don't wake up early, okay? If you're up in the night and you're exhausted, don't get up early. Be smart, okay? You need your sleep, but find a different time in the day to do this. You can still shell out 30 minutes. Now, if you're someone who's nursing, you could totally do all of this while you're nursing your baby, because you could do it on your phone or you can write it out, right? So except movement, you can't do that. Maybe later in the day you walk your baby or whatever, but you can do it all when you're actually nursing. You can. If you're bottle feeding, that might be a little bit hard because you have to hold the bottle. So in that situation, you have a partner that can feed your baby, so you can go take 20 minutes and do these things for yourself. So it's just about scheduling it. Now, if you have a young child that gets up early, this has been a challenge for me for years. I actually have done this with Cruz 100 times. He loves it. So we get up, we do our stretches together. He likes the stretches. We do our big, we call them chipmunk breaths. So we get our cheeks big like a chipmunk and we do our deep breathing. Then we write out what we're grateful for. He's got his dreams. He wants to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he literally writes it out. Like, I've talked to him about this stuff. So we do that together. We write a note usually for daddy, or we'll write a message to send to his grandma or something. And then we talk about what do we want to do today and what our goals are for the day. So this is a beautiful thing to teach your children, right? I wish I knew these habits when I was younger. So for a long time I used him as an excuse, but then I just embraced him and it was really positive for me. So I would encourage you to do that. And then, or the other option, again, when we're back to normal life, if you've got to get kids out the door, and there was a season of my life where I did this, I got him going. And then after everybody was gone, I came to work and I actually did it here before I started my day. So I took 20 minutes or whatever to do this stuff. So you just got to find a way. Now the next one is, and I'm almost done here, is if you're a shift worker or you get up really early in the morning to go to work, like if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, you're not getting up at 2:30 in the morning. Like, again, be smart. But schedule it at a different time of the day. So maybe for you, you do this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day. So you still find a time to have your self-care and to work on your mindset and yourself. And the last thing, if you're like, I literally don't have 30 minutes in a day, I'm going to call you on that. That's a little bit of baloney, because I will encourage you to look at your phone. There is an app on there that's called Screen Time, and it'll tell you how much time you spend scrolling on the internet. It'll tell you how much, like, Instagram and Facebook time. I can't remember exactly the wording, if they call it like social media time or something. It's on there. So you have the time. It's scheduling it and making it a priority and putting value on it. And again, if you go back to your why, then you'll do it, okay? Because, you know, having energy and all those things that you want is worth it. It is. So call yourself on your excuses is all I'm trying to say. So we're almost done now. I'm going to take your questions if you have any in a moment, but what I would encourage you to do is when we're done this call, actually sit down and write this out. You have your 6 points. What can you do? And what works for you? I've told you what I do every day. What could you do? And then get clear on it. If it's going to read a book, what book are you going to start with? Like, get clear on it. And then you have a plan, and then talk to your family about it. Those would be the 2 things that I would encourage you to do as soon as this is done. At any time, if you have questions, please reach out to me. You know how to get a hold of me. And I can give you some advice if you're looking for tips on how to manage this. But just generally, I just want to say thank you for taking this time to learn and to improve your life, and to, you all want more for yourselves. And I think that's something to be really grateful for and to be proud of. So good for you. Please, if you're finding value in these, I'm going to be doing a webinar every single week now. A couple people have reached out to me on content that they'd like to learn about. So I'm going to keep trying to provide that for people. And if you have any things in particular that you'd like me to do something like this on, please let me know. And feel free to invite your friends and anyone that you think could benefit from this, because I think everybody really right now just needs as much support and love and joy and positivity. Let's spread positive content, not negative. So I thank you for that. Now, does anybody have any questions? I don't see any notes, but if you do have any questions, you can unmute, and then you can ask me, and I will help you to the best of my ability. Don't be shy. Okay, Mel's got something. I think I see her reaching. Oh no, she's grabbing her coffee. Oh, Chantel, what's up?
So I find I'm very much like you with having my morning routine and stuff, but I find lately I'm struggling because I'm not sleeping at all at night. So I keep snoozing my clock until the point that I have no time left.
But yeah. Okay, so I would say, you know how I said kind of like the people that have a new baby. No, you don't have a new baby. But it's the same idea. Like, if there's a reason you're not getting sleep, then have some grace with yourself. So maybe you don't do it the first, little bit, but maybe you do it on your lunch hour. Because I know you're working throughout your day, but you clearly get a lunch break.
Yeah. So
you're doing it every day at lunchtime. That would be number 1. So do it at a different time, but still schedule it for yourself. And number 2, we don't have to get into the details of what's going on, but obviously try to get to the root of it. And maybe doing something like this will help you get to the root of it. Again, I don't know the details, but really trying to figure out what can I do to get a little more sleep. Actually, I think next week I'm going to talk about sleep, because I had a patient reach out to me saying she wanted to learn about how do you get your mind to stop racing, and how do you, so I think I'm going to do this webinar in particular on sleep. So maybe that might be helpful for you, but again, without knowing any particulars, but I would make sure that I'm really trying to figure out what's going on there, and just schedule it at a different time. But don't be hard on yourself. Don't wake up early if you're lacking sleep.
Yeah.
So what Rachel Hollis says, what does she say? Don't be dumb. But
yeah.
I'll say, be smart as opposed to don't be dumb.
I actually really enjoy Rachel Hollis too, and I've read all of her books too. So
awesome, that's great. This is my my journal. Actually, I did one of her conferences the beginning of March, like literally right before the quarantine. So we're kind of grateful we were able to do this. But this is my journal right now. But yeah, it was awesome. She's great. If you haven't heard of her, and also she's doing a 90-day challenge right now, which is really positive. It's totally free. You can sign up. It gives you access to a portal site where she has a bunch of content. She's got a workout there, which is really fun. I've already done it. It's like a dance party workout. And she's got every Monday she's putting content out. Yeah, just surround yourself with as much positive content right now as possible. And Rachel Hollis is like amazing. She's like my dream. Literally, I'm going to tell you another one of the dreams that I have on here is I adjusted Rachel Hollis. I write that every single morning, because when we were at the conference, she talked about how she had a chiropractor and she was getting adjusted at the end of the conference every day as one of her things to help her be able to do this, do her thing. And I was like, oh my God. So I've literally write every single day. One day I'm going to adjust her. So that's where those dreams came from, because one of the things that she's been writing for like 2 decades or something is I met Oprah. She would write that every single day. And just like in February, she actually met her. And so she's like, listen, like this stuff works, right? The craziest dreams that you have. She goes, I never thought I was actually going to meet her, but I wrote it and I ingrained it in my psychology, and I over and over and over. And then her life turns into what it is, and she met her. So my dream is I'm going to adjust Rachel Hollis one day. See, when I put it out there to you people, I have to do it. So anyways, thank you for that question. I hope that helps. Anyways, be kind to yourself. Anybody else have a question? Anybody? Come on, don't be shy. Steve Doney, what's up?
It's not much of a question, Dr. Doney, just maybe more of a comment because of you, I'm doing this kind of morning routine, and I've been doing this for about 18 months now. And I will say it's definitely a game changer. Before that, I was very sluggish, had no energy, no set direction. And doing the things that Dr. Doney has been talking about, moving your body, nutrition, gratitude, the notes you send to your family or your partner, and just learning. We're born to learn and to expand. And doing that, I'm going a different direction in a positive way. And I see improvements in myself physically and also in all areas through my business, through my relationships with my family, my spirituality. So I want to say it's great to do that. It's a little bit tough at the beginning. You have just got to put the reps in and the time, and definitely, as Dr. Doney says, put time for yourself, and you'll notice a huge difference in yourself and how you conduct yourself, how you conduct your business, and so forth. So this is great teaching, Jana. Good job.
Thank you. And I did not pay him to say that. Thank you. But yeah, it's a good point to the reps. You've got to put reps in. You got to do it day in, day out. And remember I said earlier, like, have some patience with yourself. My brother's been doing this for 18 months. I've been doing this for a long time too. You don't notice a dramatic change in a day, but it is a process. We have a lot of, our brains are wired for negativity. They just are. So there's a lot of rewiring in there that has to happen. And the choice of content in the learning aspect helps this as well. Okay. So what books are you choosing? We're talking about Rachel Hollis. She's got all kinds of books, or what podcasts, Oprah, Gary Vee, I don't know. There's so many different, Jay Shetty. There's so many amazing. And if you have any questions about content, I can give you it all day long. A lot of people would maybe be looking at financial content, especially if you're, right now, like if you're not getting your full wage and things like that, like if you want to learn more about of that, maybe that's something you dive into, but you don't learn these things over a day. You have to have some patience and time and repetition. But I've seen a huge change in my brother as well. I would say the biggest one for you I see is in your relationship with your family. And like, he sends me some of these notes a lot. That's a big one, I notice with you. So just have some patience for yourself and understand that it takes time. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else before we head off? Anybody have any questions about content or things that they could look at, or I don't know, anything like that? I mean, you could always reach out to me afterwards if you needed to, but everybody happy? All right, lovely. Well, thank you so much. I will send this recording out tomorrow. It'll be on Facebook and it'll be on, if you get our office emails, it'll be sent over our newsletter. So if you do know anyone that you think could have benefited from hearing this, please feel free to share it with them. And let's, again, just try and spread as much joy as possible. And I'll let you know what next week. So I'll start advertising for it next week and start talking about it. And hopefully I'll do my best to keep delivering positive content for you. So thank you so much and have a great day, everybody. Bye.